Stereotypes. Stereotypes exist to every type of group of people, religion, and cultures. No one escapes stereotypes, which also include the furry fandom, which some of these are either false or actually true, and in some cases debatable. I will tell you from my experience if they are true or not. But one thing to mention is that do not take this video as 100% truth, since this is from my experience and not everyone will have the same experience. Just because you may have the complete opposite experience doesn't mean I'm here to spread misinformation. In the end, these are stereotypes, not definitive facts. Anyway, let's begin. Furries are inherently sexual. Yeah, no. This one is easy to prove by a simple Google search. I think you guys have heard this one before. Everything about this fandom is just a fetish, a kink, or a sex thing. If you call furries inherently naughty, then you either don't understand what the word inherently means, or you are delusional. Inherently means when it is to the core and inseparable. When you are part of the furry fandom, you have the option to be naughty or not. And when that option exists, it is not inherently or the core concept of the fandom. But let's mention something that is actually inherently sexual. Corn. In whatever context it is, corn can never be separated from naughty content. That is straight up impossible. The entire purpose for corn is that giving the viewers sexual gratification. So now let's compare this to furries. You look at that drawing of a protein. Tell me, is there anything inappropriate with this drawing? Is your first reaction shock and disgust? Or maybe, does it turn you on? Do you think I should blur that and hide the kids away from it? You know, we cannot let minors watch this filth. Anyway, I think you get the point. When you make statements like this, like implying we're all like this, which is a complete lie, and you also then undermine the people that just simply like the art or dressing up as an example. But if you instead say like, the majority of furries are into this content, then with flying colors I 100% agree, and it is true. Regardless if you are furry or not, this is something we cannot deny. There is just simply so much overwhelming evidence that I cannot with a single doubt deny that claim. In the end, not all furries are naughty, but a huge part of them is. Furries are mentally ill. Well, this is probably true. Even though the word mentally ill is technically a correct term, people have been using that word these days to refer to people that they have some serious mental condition, or using the word as an insult, calling someone the lighter version of the R word. So I recommend avoiding that word unless it is used appropriately, just saying. But even if there's no official statistics or anything like that, I can say that many furries have some kind of mental disorder from my own observation, although I will quickly mention that take this section with a grain of salt, since I am not an expert in this field, but what I have seen is that the most common ones are autism and ADHD, which are neurodevelopment disorders. There are other ones too, but these two are the main ones, and I ironically have both. In the past, autism did give me problems with my behavior and all, but now it is only mainly my late discovered unmedicated ADHD that is the problem, which is just so annoying. And well, about my autism, I have incorporated it in a positive way, since it doesn't bother me anymore with my daily and social life anymore. Instead, I think it has given me an advantage now. It is hard to explain, but it is one of those moments when being autistic is an advantage. Although, you can see that many furries by their behavior both in the furry fandom and outside the furry fandom, that there is something off with these people. And I also say, if you are furry that is not diagnosed with anything, I'm sorry for saying this, but you probably have some kind of undiagnosed mental condition you're not aware of. I think why so many have it is similar to why so many people in the Sonic fandom have autism. Odysseus made a video about it, and I think many of the points he said on that video can also be applied to the furry fandom. But to quickly conclude, I say this is probably true, but do take it with a grain of salt. Majority of furries are LGBT. Yeah, this is very likely true. I say very likely since it is not a clear-cut obvious answer like the majority are into naughty content, but from my experience, well, I mean, yeah, I'm like 99% certain that is the case. To quickly mention, I am straight, and most of my acquaintances in the furry fandom is LGBT. LGBT are quite prevalent in this fandom, and if you are non-furry that only has a brief or vague experience, you probably have seen at least one furry being LGBT or having a pride flag or something. But in the places I've been in this community, like most of the time I've seen people being bisexual, and the most furries I know of is bi. I think it is safe to say that bisexual are the most common people in the furry fandom, but this is mainly from my experience and on Fur Affinity, which I can interestingly say that depending on the artist, there have been cases where I felt like the majority have been straight, and then also cases where I felt like majority is gay, but that is depending on the artist and what they draw. So with that niche the artist draws, it will attract more people of that specific sexuality to watch that artist if they make these stuff, which is interesting. Although bi people completely dominate this fandom, both males and females, they are everywhere, so I kind of understand how you LGBT people feel feel when straight people are everywhere. I feel that way of the furry fandom. Bi people are everywhere. There are also good amount of trans people. I will say they are 2 to 6%, which is more common than average, but it is not surprising since in a fandom that is so accepting of LGBT and is the majority. And my closest friend in the furry fandom is a trans man known as Furry Draws, and he's an artist, so if you're interested in his art, go check him out if you want. But to conclude, yeah, the furry fandom is majority LGBT. Not much to really say here, since that one is quite hard to deny, so let's move on to the next. Wait, I think I'm forgetting someone. Oh yeah, shout out to asexuals.
Hi.
Furries or zoos? No, just no. So here's the thing. I'm not going to deny that the furry fandom has a zoo problem, but at the same time, what do you expect? Like, it makes completely sense why these degenerates would be attracted to the furry fandom. And if you simply search for furries' opinion about zoos, you will quickly find out the opinion is overwhelmingly negative. You know, it is more likely PDFs are attracted to Roblox and Minecraft, and also saying like psychopaths are more likely to commit a crime, since it makes sense. And it also makes sense zoos would be attracted to the furry fandom. It is not surprising at all. But let's not talk about actual zoos. What about the art? So here we come to the interesting and more controversial part. So here's the question. Does furry play some part of zoo? To some degree, yeah, I think so. Because it has animal themes. But does that make you a zoo? Absolutely not. Even if you like the most vile shit, like a drawing of a realistic dog and a human doing the act, even then, I would still not call you a zoo. But you are very borderline, and I wouldn't associate with you or talk with you. And I wouldn't be comfortable with you around either. I have already talked about this before, but I will quickly say this. I think it is ridiculous to compare art to real life. I can understand if it makes you uncomfortable, and you have the right to feel so. And I can understand if you want to distance yourself from it, and I think there are cases even when someone deserves to be called out for it. As an example, I felt uncomfortable on my drama tier list video when Nitro Lord liked cob art. And Nitro Lord is a Roblox content creator for a game that has mainly minors. Like, I already dislike art of cheese pizza, and I think when your audience is mainly minors, I don't think it is appropriate to like that stuff even privately. You know, minors and someone liking cob art, those two things together are disturbing to think about. Anyway, furries are not zoos, unless you want to expand the definition of the word, but if you do that, just letting you know, that also means it gets into double standard territory, which other words will also be expanded to, and trust me, that is not a territory you want to get into. So now we get to the stuff where I either mainly think it is insignificant or I don't have much to say about it. So these are just quick mentions of other stereotypes. Making furry corn is lucrative. Well, it depends. I can't give you a yes or no answer on this one. I plan to make this one as one of the big main parts of the video. But I quickly realized when I worked on this that there are so many aspects of it that is something that needs a video of itself. Me briefly talking about it like 2 minutes won't be enough here. It just depends. Best way I can compare it to is that some people will succeed and earn a lot of money and others will fail completely. So if you are a furry artist that want to earn money from art, it won't be as easy as you think. Furries want to become animals. No. Furries do not want to become animals. That's more like a hardcore Therian like this guy. Furries think they are animals. Still no, I have never seen a person in the furry fandom that thinks they are an actual animal. But the closest to real life example of that is boanthropy, which is a real, very rare mental disorder that makes your brain think you're an actual cow. That was not a joke, by the way. You need a fursuit to be a furry. No, and where did this stereotype even come from? I have never heard anyone saying this, from both furries and non-furries. The only people I've seen saying this are furry YouTubers and TikTokers. So I will say this is probably a made-up false stereotype that was never real to begin with. Many furries work at IT. Yeah, this is true. There are many furries that work on IT. I even met one of these people myself. I don't know what attracts furries to IT, but it is what it is. Furries are rich. No, false again. I do get why people think like this, since commissions and especially fursuits are expensive, but in reality, the majority of furries only have regular jobs, and which they then save money for to buy these things. It is that simple to the story. Of course, there are furries that are rich, but see them as the few wealthy elites in regular society. Most furries go to furry conventions. No, they don't. Furries like to RP. Probably true. I do RP myself sometimes with my friends, and there are also those that don't like to RP at all, but because I don't have much experience from it, I am not really sure how accurate this is, so I will only vaguely say it's probably probably true. Furries are fatherless. I get it, you're a 12-year-old kid. Okay, for real, how am I even supposed to answer this one? I'm not fatherless. My father raised me equally as much as my mom, and most furries have fathers too, I think. Sure, there are furries that are fatherless, but then what? There are regular people too that have no father either. I don't understand this joke or stereotype, and I don't even know what I'm supposed to give you for an answer in the first place. It just makes me confused, okay? People with Fursonas or femboys, 100% true. They are all 100% submissive gay twins that are looking for big bad dominant wolves. But some of these femboy foxes, they think that wolves are not dominant enough, so instead they go inside the dragon cave and looking for one big bad dragon. Hi, if you made it this far, consider subscribing, commenting and liking the video. And well, that was it for the video. And if you think I missed any important stereotypes, then commenting below what I missed. And do not take this video seriously, since they are stereotypes after all, and it is not 100% accurate of the truth, except the femboy foxes one. That one is 100% true. They are probably in the forest right now looking for werewolves. Anyway, thank you for watching and have a good day to you.